Can I not make a video without you piping in? Huh? Okay. Hey there, welcome back to my channel. So as you can tell, I am at my house because I do not take this needy, fat orange cat to work with me. And I'm making videos from home this weekend. I thought, you know what? I am actually going to be productive and I'm going to make all these videos that I've been promising you guys I would make. So that's what we're doing here today. I do have to apologize for the wet hair. Look, pregnancy, especially summertime pregnancies. I know I've said this in other videos, man, it can be rough. Mine, I have a healthy baby, which I'm very grateful for, but this pregnancy has been physically rough on me. So yeah, I count it as a win that today I got up, took a shower, washed my hair, put on eyeliner and mascara, and I'm also wearing a bra. So that is a major victory on a weekend, let's be real. So anyway, today's video is one of those videos where I'm gonna tell you all the names that I love, but I'm not gonna be using on this baby. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to tell you guys what the baby's name is going to be before he's born, because I am having a boy. Haven't figured out if I'm going to tell you the name or not yet. I don't know. But in this video, as you can tell, I have notes. In this video, I'm at least going to tell you what I'm not going to name him. So I've got 10 boy names and 10 girl names. Obviously, I'm not using the girl names because, like I said, I am having a boy. So we will go through the girl names first. And you know what? One of these days, if I have a second kid and baby number 2 ends up being a girl, I might use some of these names. But as of right now, I cannot tell you if I'm gonna have a second kid or not. I just may be a one and done kind of person. So anyway, first girl name that I really like, but I will not be using is Maris. I'm a huge Yankees fan. If you don't know me personally, I love the Yankees. I grew up in a family where we love baseball in general, and I fell in love with the Yankees when I was a kid. And the story or the friendship between Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle has always intrigued me. I've always loved Roger Maris. But yes. So I love that name, Maris, and I always thought it would be a really cute girl name, but the problem is that I named one of my dogs Maris. So should I have another baby in the future, I can't really name her after the dog, so Maris is out. Another girl name that I really love, but of course I'm not using this time around, is Violet. My great-grandmother's name is Violet, and I love the idea of using family names. So, in fact, that's what I've decided to go with for this boy. He's gonna have family names. And so if I were having a girl, I would probably name her Violet. I just love that name. It's unique, but it's not weird unique, and it'll sound good on a little girl as well as an old woman. If you know me, I used to work in a retirement community. And so yeah, sometimes those things would play through my head like, well, you know, this certain girl name would sound good for like a little girl or like a young woman, but it'd be kind of weird having this person or hearing this name in a retirement community one day. I don't know, the things that my mind used to think of. But anyway, I like Violet because it's a good name throughout an entire lifespan. Another name that I really like is Elizabeth. It's also a family name. It was my late Aunt Beth's name, of course. And it's my cousin Kayla's middle name, and I really just like Elizabeth. I would probably use it as a middle name because my Aunt Beth, she left behind 3 boys, and those boys have started having children of their own, and in case one of them would like to name their daughter Elizabeth or some sort of that form, you know, I don't want them to feel like I stole that name, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I like Elizabeth. If I ever have a girl, I'll probably use it as a middle name. In fact, I really like the combination of Violet, Elizabeth. I just like it. Another name that I really like is Maggie, which is short for Margaret. Margaret is also a family name. It is another one of my great-grandmother's names. She's passed away. She passed away when I was 7, but I had my great-grandmother Margaret. My middle name is actually Margaret. And I just love the idea of naming a daughter Margaret, but calling her Maggie for short. And then, so this one might sound a little weird. There is the name Naren. So have you guys ever heard, you know, a lot of people sometimes will use last names as first names. So Naren is actually my uncle and my cousin's last name. And I always thought, you know, that would be kind of a cool first name. But it might be a little weird if I name my kid my cousin and my uncle's last name. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I like the idea of it, but I don't know, it just might be weird if I used it. You know what I'm saying? I do have the tendency to overthink things, so that's exactly what I could be doing here. Another name that I really like is EMMALINE. I think it was on like a TLC documentary that I saw this, like ages ago. We're talking like 10, 15 years ago. Anyway, the documentary was about a couple who had quintuplets. Ouch. And they named one of their daughters EMMALINE, and I thought that is such a cute little name. So I've always liked that. I had a coworker who once named his daughter something similar to that. They named their daughter EMMALINE, but I don't know. I've just always been drawn to EMMALINE. Another little girl name that I've always loved is Lucy. It might have something to do with my obsession with I Love Lucy. Well, I was kind of obsessed with her when I was in high school. I just loved that show. But anyway, I do like the name Lucy, even with or without that show, but I've got a lot of friends that have daughters named Lucy now. So, and it's not a bad name. I'm not like dissing their name. I'm just like, well, you know, everybody's been using that. Maybe I'll back off of it. But then again, like I said, I'm not having a girl, so it's kind of a moot point. Another one that I really like is LORELAI, and I used to like LORELAI before Gilmore Girls came out, and then I watched Gilmore Girls and I liked LORELAI even more. It's another one of those names, kind of like Violet, that is good for like a girl of any age. And it's just a classic name, and it's not common. It's unique without being weird. Another one that I really liked was Laurette. There was a girl, so when I was in college, I went to Mississippi State University. When I was in college, I sang in the concert choir. It paid my out-of-state tuition. And there was another girl in the concert choir. Her name was Laurette. It was the first time I'd ever heard of that name, but I thought, well, you know, that's a really pretty name. And I don't know, maybe it's just the Southern girl in me likes names that sound like Lorelai and Laurette, but I don't know, I just really liked it. And then my final girl name, well, sort of a girl name, I guess it could be kind of unisex, is Cullen. And I liked Cullen before Twilight series ever came out. So I was listening to the radio one day, and they were actually doing a segment on people who had last names as first names. And this woman called in and said her name was Cullen, and I was like, that is a really cool name. It's another one of those names that's unique enough without being like straight up weird. Like, you know, you're not naming your kid Apple, but I was like, you know, that's a nice sounding name. Like, I really like that name. But then the Twilight series came out, and it's like, well, I don't know, I can't really use that name without people thinking that like I'm a Twilight fanatic. So anyway, that's how Cullen got ruled out. And those are my girl names. So moving on to my boy names. I'm sorry, I'm not naming this boy Mr. Sprinkles. You're gonna have to get over that. So one boy name that I've always loved, even as a little kid, was Logan. You know, I liked it because, well, first of all, when I was in elementary school, there was this really cute boy named Logan. So that might have been why I liked it a little bit. But I also really loved James Logan from the X-Men comics. And I'm not like, you know, some comic book nerd. X-Men was actually a cartoon my brother and I used to watch every Saturday morning. And I just liked Logan for some reason. But like I mentioned earlier, I've decided to go with family names. Logan's not a family name, so it got tossed. Another name that I really, really like for a little boy is Gabriel, but calling him Gabe for short. And going back to the comic books, I really liked Gabriel way before The Walking Dead came out. God, I liked Gabriel for a long, long time. And at one point, I honestly thought that I would have a son and name him Gabriel, but it's not a family name, so I got next. One that I really, really fell in love with back in the days when I watched Sex and the City was Aiden. Because if you remember the character Aiden, oh my God, I hated what Carrie Bradshaw did to him. Like, girl, how could you get rid of Aiden? But I just also like it because it's a nice name that'll transition well, like through the ages for this kid. And it's one of those that's like you don't hear too often, but it's such a pretty name. I really like that name, and it actually is a family name, but here's the catch. It's a family name because my cousin named one of her sons AIDEN. And so it's like, well, I don't really think I can name like my kid the exact same thing as what my cousin named her kid. Now, I mean, granted, on that side of the family, I do have 2 cousins named Jennifer and 2 cousins named Jessica. On my dad's side of the family, there are 2 of us named Mary. So there's Mary, and then my other cousin whose name is Mary Page. So, I mean, we repeat names on each side of my family, but I don't know. I didn't want to like reuse that name so soon. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking that. I've been known to overthink things. Let's be real. Another boy name that I really, really like is Jack. Like, not Jackson. And there's nothing wrong with the name Jackson. My cousin just had a son whose name is Jackson, and I love that kid to pieces. But Jack, just shortened up Jack. I loved that name like back when I was a teenager and like my early college years, but here's the catch. A, it's not a family name. And B, one of my college boyfriends was named Jack. Jack and I had a complicated relationship. So I don't really feel like naming my son after any previous boyfriend, especially one that we had such a very complicated relationship. So, my ex Jack kind of ruined that name for me. Another name that I really, really like is actually George. And I know it sounds old-fashioned, which old-fashioned names don't scare me off. But I like George because, again, going back to the fact that I'm a Yankees fan, there's George Herman Ruth, aka Babe Ruth, if you didn't know who that was. So I like the name George. It's classic. It's a Yankees name. Also really love the character George on Grey's Anatomy. Who did not love George, first of all? But yeah, it's not a family name, so I just couldn't. And I like it, but I don't like it enough to like want to use it over the names that I am using. Another name that was inspired by the New York Yankees is Mantle. So I talked about Maris earlier, after Roger Maris. There's Mantle after Mickey Mantle. But it's just one of those names that it was like, I like it, but it may be a little too weird to name a kid Mantle. So, or at least too weird to me. I mean, I've heard of some other really weird names out there, but yeah, I'm just not brave enough to use Mantle. So I like it, but I'm just not gonna use it. So another name that I really liked, and I actually almost used this one, is William, or Will for short. So I like the idea of having a son named Will. It's my late brother's first name, and it is also one of my great-grandfather's first names. So the name that I've decided to go with, I was just so attached to that I didn't have strong enough feelings about the name Will to like bypass the name that I've chosen, if that makes sense. Like I love the name that I've chosen. I'm so attached to it that there was just really nothing else I was gonna do. And another family name that I'm not going to be using is John. Just the classic John, not Jon like Jon Snow or Jonathan. John is a family name, and I like it because it's a good classic name. It's masculine, and look, none of these boy names. It's not like any of them aren't masculine. It's a good, solid name is what I'm trying to say. But again, even though it is a family name, and maybe I'll use it somewhere else down the road, I just didn't like it more than I like the name that I picked. And my final boy name is not a family name, but I thought, that's kind of a cool name. Anyway, final boy name that I like but will not be using is Sawyer. And I've heard of some people naming their boy Sawyer, and I thought, that's just such a cool name. And it's unique without being weird. But anyway, so the name Sawyer, I thought, that's cool and I like it, but it's not a family name and I'm not brave enough to use it. And I don't know, and it's not that I'm scared of these names, it's just I'm more of like a classic name kind of person is what I'm trying to say. So that is it. There you have it. There's 10 boy names that I won't be using and 10 girl names that I won't be using. Maybe I'll use them someday down the road, maybe I won't. I don't know. At this point, I cannot tell you if I will have a second kid or not. That's that simple. But thanks for hanging in there for yet another video. Like I said, I've got a few more that I'm going to try to crank out this weekend. So hang in there, hang around to see those, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.